Hey guys, welcome back to the Beamerdo channel. Thanks for tuning in. As you can see, we're in the Beamerdo garage, and today we are working on the door panels on my E36 M3. You don't want to miss out, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so if you clicked on today's video, you know what we're working on. We are working on the wide body M3's door panels. Now you might be asking yourself, you saw in the last video that the door panels actually look to be in pretty good shape. I don't have any of the typical cubby hole sagging that you see in a lot of E36 door panels. Well, that's not to say that there's nothing wrong with them. You ask any E36 owner, M3 owner, doesn't really matter, and that they'll give you a laundry list of issues they're dealing with, and at the top of the list typically is the door panels. Now this video is not to deter any of you individuals that are thinking about getting the E36 M3. They're actually very robust and well built cars, but we all know that the interior was not really their strong suit. In the 90s, some of their design cues and some of the material they decided to use didn't really stand the test of time. It still looked good. Sometimes you can find good examples, but a lot of them are brittle and breaking. And that's one of the things I wanted to address today. Alright guys, so if you look here, you'll see my door panels are in fairly good condition. The actual black leather material here is still pretty good. There's no real wearing in any other places. Disregard some of this. This is just dust from the back side. But all in all, the cubbies here are still in really good shape. And I'm pretty happy with it. So generally, if you have good luck on this side of your door panel, the back side is the part that actually deteriorates. And I have the other side here to show you guys for reference. Now, you'll notice I have all my plastic clips basically in place, but that's because a couple years ago I used Gorilla Glue. If you're not familiar with Gorilla Glue, it's probably the best thing since sliced bread. You should be using this on your door panels because it adheres to this fiberglass material that the door panels are actually made out of, and it just bonds to it really well, and I was able to really crank on these door panels without them actually coming apart. But the thing that I want to address in this video is this guy right here. As you can see, there's a crack right here in this, and this is actually what attaches to the upper section of the door panel, or actually the door card. Now, attaching that to your actual door becomes a bit of a task because every single time you take it off, one of these actually breaks, and as you can see, I'm actually missing a portion right there, giving it a little less structural rigidity there. So every time you take your door panels off, you end up breaking these tabs off, which is why a lot of E36 guys, we really just hate taking door panels off in general. Enter this fix here. I found these guys on eBay. They actually sell a replacement for this guy up here. It's actually made out of aluminum. It's fairly lightweight, very strong. Not really sure if the entire length and the width of this is going to work properly, but as you can see, there are holes in between them. I'm assuming this is for the purpose of gluing, so that some of the glue can kind of squirt on the outsides. So in today's video, we're going to be installing these on the door. I'm going to be using, like I said before, the Gorilla Glue on that. I have to gently pull this off of here, and we'll see how these things turn out. If this turns out well, I would recommend this to anybody with E36 that has relatively good conditioned door panels to give this a try. So without further ado, let's get going. Before we do that, something else has come to my attention as of recently. I'm noticing that this finish here is actually seen better days. It's a little rough and beat up. It's held up really well, but what you probably don't notice or know is that this is actually Duplicolor dye. I sprayed this on here about 5 years ago, and it's held up really well. I mean, there's some areas that you can see where it's actually coming off, but I mean, it took years for that to actually happen. And the reason I was able to have a good amount of success is because I lightly sanded down on the leather. So yes, you can sand down cloth or the leather when it's real leather, and you can kind of rough the surface up to give the dye something to bite into. So before we get these installed, we're going to go ahead and tape off this section here. We're going to sand this down with 1000 grit sandpaper. Try to get underneath the crevices and cracks. We're not going to be doing the door handle because that's a high traffic area. If you want to have some success with this Duplicolor dye, you don't want to spray it on anything that's going to be high traffic, such as this or seats. I know some people actually put them on seats, but in my experience, you don't want to put that on anything that's a high traffic area. You may touch the door panel, every once in a while, but you're definitely going to touch that every time you open and close the door. So we're going to sand this down, get it prepped, Going to use an alcohol based cleaner, get that all cleaned off, and then we're going to tape it off, and we're going to dye it before we put these things on. Alright guys, so as you can see, there's a fair bit of dye coming off of my hands, and that lets you know that it actually was dye at one point in time. So I got this nice and scuffed up. Gonna come back with some alcohol, like an alcohol wipe, and wipe that all down, and then we'll let it dry, and then we'll tape it off, and then we will get it ready for dye again. Alright guys, so as you guys saw, we basically revamped this whole door panel. We re-dyed this center section here, and it looks good as new. Now, this is a few days later, just so you guys know. I did give this a little bit of time to cure, and I'm really loving that product. Again, I didn't really have to use much of it, which is another reason why I love it so much. So now that we have all that done, this is all dry to the touch, and probably good enough now to handle and take some abuse. We're going to go ahead and flip it over. And we're going to use the thing that this whole video was really about, that we started off to do, and then that is replacing those plastic clips on the back. So one of the things that I went ahead and did off camera, because it's just going to be a little too boring and really no point to showing you guys this, but I had to break off all the broken clips that were up here. And if you guys remember from the beginning of the video, I showed you that it was broken in multiple places. On the other one, well, this one was exactly the same, and I basically had to break one off each individually and do my very best not to damage the material, the fiberglass material that door panel is actually made out of. Because one thing you don't want to do is create puncture marks on the other side. So I use a flathead screwdriver, and I just basically pried all that off. We kind of have a good understanding where this needs to go, so I'm going to do my very best to line this new piece up with the edge here. One thing we don't want to see is this aluminum piece whenever you attach to the door panel. The worst thing in the world would be to have the new aluminum piece attached to the door panel, and you can see through the seam or the crack of the door panel the aluminum. So we're going to do our best to line it up as best we can. I did pick up some inexpensive clamps. We're going to be using the Gorilla Glue, and that I feel has the best opportunity for lasting as long as possible and just adhering to this material here. So let's get this done, and let's see how it looks.
I bet you don't
so we got all these clamps on here holding it in position. Fortunately, I wasn't able to use some of the cheaper clamps in all the positions, but it's okay. I had some other clamps laying around, improvised a few things, but we're pretty much doing a waiting game now. So I will touch base with you guys tomorrow. It'll be probably half a second for you guys. It'll be 12 hours or more for me. So catch up with you guys tomorrow, same time. Alright guys, so as you guys can probably tell, due to a different haircut and just a different attire altogether, it's been more than a few hours. Actually, it's been a few weeks. So give you guys an update what's been going on with the channel. A lot of things have been going on. There's a lot of surprises, some changes. You guys make sure you guys stay tuned to the next few videos. I'll be giving a few hints here and there to give you guys an idea about what's actually going on. But to follow up with the video, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the door panels to see how they came out. I do have the car back. I'm not going to show you guys the car. It's still in the building phases, but stay tuned the next video or two. I will be doing a reveal, an official reveal video for the E36 M3. But until then, let me go ahead and show you the door panels. Alright guys, so as you can see, it's a little bit dirty now. It's been sitting in the garage just collecting dust. But yeah, it looks pretty good. And the actual die is holding up really well. I'm probably going to need to use some conditioner on it. This stuff is, the dye is actually fine to use conditioner on it once it's dry after a couple days or so. But it's been about a month since I've actually done this door panel, and I'm probably going to use some type of saddle soap, some kind of conditioner on the leather to ensure that the dye lasts as long as possible and to give it a little bit of protection. On top of that, as you guys probably remember, I installed the aluminum door clips that actually attaches to the underside of the door panel, and I think it did a fairly good job. The door is a little bit higher than factory, but that's okay. This is more of like a repair, permanent fix for this repair. So all in all, this is kind of like a preliminary test. I haven't seen any reviews on these online, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. You could probably tell right here that there's actually the aluminum trim. The actual trim piece is still there. I actually just painted it black so that you wouldn't see it. It wouldn't protrude and just stand out over the color of the paint and the color of the interior. So all in all, I do recommend this for your door panels. It's just a great alternative. There is a company out there, some individuals who actually 3D printed these, but I feel that this might be the most permanent solution. So I will leave this on my website. You guys can pick these up for yourselves. Let me know how it worked for you guys. Let me know if you had to trim anything. Let me know if there's a better way to install from what you saw me do on the channel. Guys, so that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Hopefully you guys liked today's video. If you like today's video, go down in the comment section down below, leave me a comment. And if you also like the video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that alert button right next to it so you can be alerted every time I upload a video. Before you guys go, make sure you guys stop by the Beamer Dude Automotive Garage. Is currently the best way to support the channel. So guys, seriously, this time is going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you guys for watching the Beamer Dude channel. And as always, peace out and Godspeed, guys.